say, it's all about my children. But if you're not here, your children doesn't have a mother. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot run and expect to be a great mother or spouse or friend or daughter. You have to put yourself first. If God is the first, whatever you have as your God in your universe, after that should be you. And then everybody else. You have to make that clear to everyone in your life that you're not going to be numero uno. You're not going to be first. You're not going to be the primary person in my life. Because if people know that, they will use that to drain you. They will use that to destroy you and destroy your emotional wellness. Don't you all have a friend that will call you, girl, you won't believe. When you hear that conversation, tell them you call them back. That person where they're like, you sitting down, you have some time, that conversation start all kind of way. I have my mother, when she starts, when you see the story, if you're Haitian on this line, when that story is starting. You have to put a time frame, how long I'm going to sit there and listen to it. And you have to put your blockers on how you're going to let that conversation affect you. I'm not saying that you don't answer people, you don't talk to people, because sometimes they just need an ear. They don't need someone to solve their problem. So for me, I'm a stressor because I try to solve people's problem. People sometimes want you to listen. So the minute you pick up that call, you're going to decide, Ila, you're just going to listen. This is not your problem to solve. That person needs an ear. So you first, decide second, how am I showing up on this phone call? How am I showing up in this meeting? What am I gonna take and not take from this boss? How am I showing up at work? Because a lot of time we go to work, if you don't put on that how am I showing up face from the minute you leave the bar, it could be problematic for you. You have to decide, how am I showing up? What am I going to take? What am I going to leave?
Which is fresh.
So these are some important things. Because mindset is key. Because if you do not set your mind to say, this thing is not going to stress me, this job is not going to destroy me, it will. So mindset is key. A lot of people either meditate, pray, exercise. I would advise listening to motivational videos, whether it's to and from work, before you hop on that computer, whether you work from home, before you even deal with anything, you listen to some motivations. Some people, it's music that does it for them. Some people, it's quiet and stillness. Whatever it is that helps you with that particular situation, you do that. Because again, this is pouring into yourself. The cheapest way you could pour into yourself is by tuning in into something that is pouring into you, that is feeding you. And then you can give out. And then the next thing is exercising. You have to make time for yourself. And not everybody likes to exercise, I get that, but exercise comes in the form of a walk. It comes in the form of a hike. It comes in the form of dancing, Zumba. If you don't have two left feet, get out and dance. And even if you do, just don't trip. And then if you can do like HIIT exercises, you can go to a gym. We're migrating back into a formal gym now, post-COVID. Do it, because you get to see people. A lot of people were saying that we're social creatures. We want to be around other people. So if it means being around other people, I used to be in the gym, but I like to do class exercises. That's why I like group exercise. It feels like you are alone, but not yet you're not alone, because you're among a group of like-minded people seeking the same thing you're seeking, which is physical wellness. So get back into these activities, whether it means waking up a little early to get your activity on, whether it means, carving up 30 minutes. All you need is 30 minutes, 3 times a week. That's what the recommendation is for. And it's good for your heart also. Exercises are all well-rounded form of stress and emotional wellness, which means that you get stress relief, you spend time with yourself, you can meditate, and your blood pumping, and you have fun, and then you're working on your fitness while you're at it. So find time to exercise regularly. And the next thing is self-care, getting a massage, facial, going out with your girlfriends, doing something different. Sitting down and having a conversation where you're just laughing with people, but you got to set that intention. where this is going to be where we're talking and we're having fun with each other, not talking about, ooh, you know, what they did wrong, who's doing what. So that where you're having just belly aching laughs, you know, sitting down and watching something funny on television. All that is a form of self-care. Whether you like to read, you know, going to a coffee shop, something that pours into you and where you feel like I did something for myself. Now let's be frank. For those of you who are parents in here, just sitting in the bathroom for 5 extra minutes for me is self-care, where no one comes knocking on the door looking for you. So you do what works for you in terms of that. Now let's get to the will part of it, where if that is not enough and emotionally you're struggling, you have to seek out a therapist. You have to seek out someone to talk to. You have to seek help. And I know in our community we're afraid of, you know, going for help. They taught us it's a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of weakness. Actually, it's a sign of strength to say that I need help. Now, if what I'm saying to you guys resonate, you know, make sure you're kind of sharing this and saying it resonate. And if I'm all the way left, let me know, because we can shift gear. But basically, really find help, talk to someone. Going to therapy does not mean medication, because a lot of time people, I don't want to be on medication for this. Not everything warrants medication. Some things is sorting out through. And then, but when I recommend therapy, I really recommend someone who is like-minded, someone who understands you, someone that can, you know, say that I understand, because for one, representation is important. Not to be, you know, what is it, race, bring race in it. Sometimes the white women don't understand what we're going through as Black women. Sometimes, you know, someone who is not from the same walk of life may not understand what we're coming from or where we're coming from. So you have to really do your work when it comes to therapists. You really have to, if you don't like them, divorce them. It's not a marriage. If it's not, you know, you didn't sign your name on it with blood. If you don't like the person, move on to the next person. Always also be careful what that person is willing to do. Because I have seen instances on side note where therapists are putting jacked up stuff on people's paperwork, you know, just to make money from insurance. Make sure they know exactly why you're here. It's talk therapy, not you diagnosing me with severe depression and later on that follows me. Remember, you go for work, they look at your records. Everything you're doing in life, they look at your records. So make sure therapist is not diagnosing you just to make money from insurance. That's the nurse in me talking. Let's go back to the regular. But now you go and you talk things out. Know that it's a safe environment. Know that you are not alone. That's what therapy does. Invest in yourself. A lot of people might say it's expensive. I don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to. Let me tell you something. It's best to be vulnerable than to be walking around a ball of emotion where you could be vulnerable anytime. I don't know about you. I've had issues where I've been so angry in life that I go off at people. Would you want to go off at work, or would you want to be vulnerable in the confined of an office space with someone that understands you? So you choose where you want to be vulnerable. Do you want to go off at your children, or do you want to share your emotion with a therapist that understands you? So you have to decide. And then now this is the new thing that I love, which is a life coach. Now, all of us in this room has enough skill set, enough that we can be someone's life coach in different arenas of their lives. And what I like about life coaching, it takes the stigma of therapy out of the picture. So a lot of people want to speak to someone. Now, I had a life coach, and yes, I had a life coach, and she got me all the way together. Sandra could tell you, because I'm nicer to her these days. And then at first I didn't think I needed a life coach. I met through, you know, God arranging it. I met the young lady and then we started working together. So what a life coach basically does, you target certain areas of your life that you want to work on. Now, when you go, do not unpack half of the baggages and then leave the rest. Now, where people being compatible with you matters, she was able to figure out, cut the crap, you know, what's really going on, spill everything out. And I was able, in the time period that we worked together, establish habits that would work for me, let go of things that I couldn't control, let go of people that I gave so much power over my life to allow myself to be great, let go of pain, anger, and fear. So all of that was done in the confine of working with someone that was non-threatening, to be honest with you. So if you are afraid of therapists or think that maybe sometimes people think therapists cost too much money, another route is life coaching. It really does work, and a lot of people can, benefit from that, because again, you get to work on more than just one thing, because they're very well rounded. So that's something I would encourage. Now, in the event that there is issue where seasonal affective disorder is real and stress is real and it's pushing you to the point of anxiety attack and panic attack, and you really need to speak to someone, really do call on someone and speak to. Seek out help outside of an emergency room, because what we find is that a lot of Black women, we run into the hospital with chest pain, with this and that and the third, because we're anxious, we're having panic attack. And then sometimes because we're coming in with chest pain, they're like, oh, they're drug seeking, because they don't understand. And we cannot even verbalize that it is a panic attack. So they'll do the whole workup to find out if it is your heart that's in trouble. But at the same, that's what anxiety does to us. That's what panic attack does to us. Before you get to that level, this is where you speak to someone. This is where you take matters into your own hand. Your primary care physician can initiate treatment for depression, can initiate treatment for anxiety. And if you have someone that says get over it, that's when you get over them and you switch to someone who understands you. Because you don't just get over depression, you just don't get over anxiety or panic disorder. You need help to get over it. Trauma, you need help to get over it. You need to speak to someone, the right person. This gone are the days of getting over things. Gone are the days of suppressing our emotion to make people happy. Our cultures, our families, there's a lot of stuff they pack on, a lot of secret that they keep hidden under the rug. The holidays are coming. If you're not comfortable with Uncle so-and-so, Auntie so-and-so is too much for you, don't go to Thanksgiving. Don't go to Christmas. Spare yourself, spare your energy. Do not be in that space where you don't feel comfortable. If it's mom or dad that's dramatic, have a conversation with them. Keep the drama to yourself. Like someone just said, it's enrollment season. It's a busy season for them. They're stressed out. If you know there's a family member that's going to add extra drama, stay away from that person. The holidays are meant to be fun. And we were just talking about the economy, potential recession. If people, all they need from you is gift, things, and they do not appreciate just your time, this is the time when you have a conversation with them. It's not gonna happen. I'm gonna save my money. I'm going to shower you with love, but it ain't gonna be give all day, every day. We don't even get to wear those things anyway. So we don't need them. So this is where you can say to people, I'll give you, how about we normalize giving them like a gift card to massages, hint, hint, cousins, gift to, like, see if Stephanie's doing like a special where you can buy a couple classes. Anybody here that has something that they do, see if there's something that you can just give that person that gift. It doesn't have to be material things. Find a life coach and give yourself that, to that coaching session. Gift yourself some therapy sessions. That's something you can do for you and the people you love. It's not always monetary things you have to spend money on, or physical things that people just throw away after they use. Do things that would leave a lasting impression. So that's on the mental part, on the medical part, on the, working on your emotional wellness. Really set time and, out for yourself. But now let's be real, ladies. If one thing that affects us the most when it comes to our emotion, being well, the things that keep us up at night the most is finances. Can I get a 1 in the chat? Can I get an amen in the chat? If you stay up thinking about money, thinking about bills, thinking about it's the 15th of the month today, don't make me preach now. Let me get a 1 in the chat, because that's something that affects all of us. We're working harder, we're working more, the cost of living is more expensive, but our paycheck is not going anywhere. A lot of you might have said, oh, but I got a raise, I'm fortunate. But with your 3% or maybe 0.3% raise came a 8.5 recession rate. That's how high recession is today, 8.5. So that means the cost of living is so much more expensive than it was last year around this time. So what does that mean? We're paying more money for everything. We're spending more money on everything. Don't believe me? Go to the grocery store. Go to Costco. Because I read somewhere the most expensive car is a Costco shopping cart. So yeah, so basically everything is expensive. So we need more money, but we're not making more money. We're spending more money, but we're not making more money. So a lot of people are stressed in when it comes to that. So how do you make sure that you stay financially sound? Because your lack of finances or disarray in your finances can affect you emotionally, because you're walking around on eggshell. You're wondering, should I pay for lunch? People are inviting you out for dinners that you probably can't afford to pay. Deadlines are coming due, and then these paychecks are coming the same amount every 2 weeks. So you sometimes don't want to say no, because a lot of us have the disease to please. We just say yes to everything. So you want to make sure that you have a financially sound plan in place. First, budget, budget, budget. If it ain't in your budget, don't do it. If somebody came with a last minute birthday trip away and it's not in your budget at the moment, feel free to say no, even if it's me. Because you didn't budget for it. So why go into debt when you can't afford it? I don't know if you notice your credit card company sending you a letter. I would pay attention to that, because late fees have gone up, interest rate are going to go up. So you will be affected. So putting a ticket, putting a trip on a credit card is great, but you got to pay it off. The old thing saying that, charge and pay off right away is really important. The reason being is that compounded interest. The credit card company will make you pay double what you charge if you keep paying the bare minimum. That's why it's best to grow your credit, is to charge and then pay off right away. But now if we buy that trip to Turk and Caicos, they're not always cheap. And sometimes people will make you spend because they want the best of the best. So you have to really think long and hard. You know what you're going to charge, and can you afford to pay it as soon as possible? That's another key. And you also have to take into consideration emergencies with your car, especially with snow season coming. So budget for that. So if you have to pull a credit card out to get some 4 tires, that's not cheap. So make sure you know that this is your backup. Always have a credit card that has some form of amount that can cover an emergency. Because a lot of people, the second thing, we need 3 months of emergency fund in the bank. A lot of people don't have that, because we're all living paycheck to paycheck, unfortunately. And there's nothing wrong with that. At least we're living. But every person pretty much in America in the working class is one paycheck away from being out in the street. Every person in America is one illness away from being down and out and unable to pay their rent or mortgage. That's the fact. And why? Is because of the cost of living. So you have to make sure that you either are working at putting something away for rainy day or emergency. Cases as in COVID, a lot of people got sick and couldn't go to work. Some jobs didn't send you a paycheck. So you have to figure it out. Some people are even dealing with what is called long COVID, and they cannot return back to work fully. So they have to tap into whatever savings they have. So always replenish your saving. One, budget, savings, and emergency fund. And then the other thing is, you're not a bank, you're not a loan company. Stop lending money to people, especially those that don't plan on paying you back. Yes, I said it. Tell them, as I told you, if the friend wants this amount, I'll buy you food, but I won't lend you $300-400. We all have those people that wants always to borrow money, but they don't give it back. Always make sure that person have the intention to pay you back, because at the end of the day, you're not Bank of America, you're not the Federal Reserve. Sandra said she's not a bank. I wish she was. My kids think you are, but yes, always make sure that you have the intent of that person to pay you back, because people will use you and abuse you, especially if you are a nice person. In this day and age, you cannot afford to be used. And then the next thing is to always make sure that you have a backup. Nowadays, we're overworked by the one job that we have. So it's very hard to actually even do a second job. So you have to figure out a way to bring in passive income without having to show up to someone's job. There's a lot of companies, a lot of people actually are very creative with creating side jobs for them. They're not hustles, they're your side dreams. Whether it be something you love to do in fashion, sales, fitness, coaching, anything that you know how to do and you do it well. If you could help somebody dress, pick out their outfit, and you've done it for a while, make it a job. If you could talk somebody off the ledge and you've done it for a couple of times, make it a job. If you could exercise and tell a group to move your body, make it a job. If you could babysit somebody's kids without pulling your hair out, make it a job. That's not that passive of an income though. That's active income. But anything that you could do without having to devote too much time and make some kind of passive income, do it, especially in this day and age, because we all need that extra stream of income, because you never know where when your full-time job is going to go. So anything you can do, be it something from home, something that you click of a button, you can do, as long as it's legal, ethical, do it. Because at the end of the day, you need to bring extra stream of income into your reserve, because you never know how long you'll have that job. You never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And the other key is refrain from big purchases that are not necessary. For instance, if your car still got some life in it, push it through. If we're dealing with the market now where interest rate is high, for a lot of younger people, if you've talked to me, I'm always saying buy versus renting, own versus renting, but you have to really look at the market. NACA is that the only company that gives help. NACA puts you through hell and back. There's actually a bank that now is giving low interest rate. So we need to start looking into that to get the low interest rate. Do not fall for the nonsense that Bank of America is doing. Side note, that they want you to stay in your place with that $10,000. No, we're not staying in our place because you want us to. We're staying in our place because we want to. So I'll explain for those of you not familiar. They're giving $10,000, which is your down payment, for you to stay in low income area or, urban area. Correct? I'm right? So that's the key. But I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. But I'm saying if you want to look at your whole life, if you have planned on raising a family and having children, some areas, urban area, they do not allow the school system to be good. So because of that, you have to take into consideration. A lot of us can buy the first home and move out by the time we're married, but now it's not easy with the rising interest rate. So always think about your purchases, especially home, being permanent or semi-permanent. It's no longer I'll be in this home when I get my spouse or have children, I can move out. It's not always that easy. So think long and hard before you take that loan, that stay in your place loan, I call it, because there's other banks that are offering better things. And I can share that information with Sandra to share with you guys, because that's something we have to do, is do our homework. That whole high interest rate, the wealthy are still buying home. They're still investing. They're still doing what needs to be done. So don't be afraid to explore your options. Do not do that stay in your place thing, but be very careful with making big ticket purchases. That includes this Christmas gift, my friends. Do not do big purchases. If it's more than $50, $100, don't do it. You don't gotta give your boss a gift. You showing up for work and showing out was enough. I said it. Your coworkers, pick and choose who you give gifts to. And a lot of it could be labor of love. It could be simple things that you can do. It doesn't have to be monetary. You don't have to spend. Nobody's rolling in dough around here. So people need to understand. So think long and hard when you're setting up your Christmas budget. If it's going to tap into your emergency fund, if you have to charge it, don't do it. Take a rain check on everybody. They can wait. And there is a looming recession in front of us. We also have to keep that in mind. What does recession mean? People are going to lose money, but we can lose money. We can always make money back, but we just cannot lose our mind. Because if we start with a full plate, it's going to be very hard to get back to where we started. So that's why it's very important to really keep those things in place. Now, my biggest subject now that I talk to people all the time about is using other people's money, OPM, other people's money. By that, I mean us young professional, Black professional, we usually have the mindset that our parents put in us that insurance is a negative thing. I was that person. So if one of you don't want to admit it, I was that person that thought insurance was you have and you die and you leave money behind. No longer is that the case. The wealthy Caucasians have been using that for ages and centuries. We are very late to the party, and some of us don't even want to get in there. Now, if you can think long and hard, not even that hard, of someone you started working with, someone that started working at your job, whether they came with a big rock on their finger or they were single, Caucasian, and they got married and they downgraded their position to part-time. Then they got their babies, you know how it comes. They then stop working altogether. And then most of the time, their spouses were either in education, low income jobs, not really things that they were making a bunch of money. And we always wonder, how can they do it and not I? That was me. I was that nurse that had to roll up to work 6 weeks after I've had my children because that was the norm for me because I had nothing to fall back on. But them, they're able to stay home with their children, if not indefinitely. We do not have that ability because we had nothing in place. We do not plan for our future. And even if some of you are like, I'm saying single, I'm fine, I don't have to worry about this, that's fine. But what are you going to fall back on? What is your fallback plan? What is your backup plan? A lot of people don't have a backup plan at the moment. If you cannot work because of a medical condition, who's coming to rescue you? Do you have a plan in place to rescue you? Do you have somewhere you can pull money from besides your 3 month saving, besides your savings account that doesn't give you anything, any interest anyway? So whatever you put in, that's what you're going to take out. Do you have anything in place? Because these white women, these more affluent people, they have that. The wealthy, they have that. It's not because they're working harder than us, they're just working smarter than us. So I want you guys to think, are you using someone else's money right now? Because we know those men, they ain't got no money. We're not talking about those Negroes' money now. So we got to find a way to use the white man's money. So do you have some form of OPM in your portfolio right now? Because if you do not have a cash value life insurance, you do not have an insurance living benefit, you're not using the white man's money properly. And your paycheck is not the white man's money, it's your money. So find another way to use money that you don't work hard for. And that's for you and that's for your family members. Because if we don't have those things in place, we're always going to be GoFunding people. We're always going to have to collect money to help somebody out. And that depletes our funds very quickly. So let's defund GoFundMe by using other people's money to put things in your portfolio for rainy days. Because we never know when we won't be able to work because of a medical condition, or where we won't be able to work because of a disability, because a lot of jobs don't give disabilities. And I'm hearing the people saying now, oh, I have insurance at work, she's not talking to me. Newsflash, the insurance at work is not yours, honey. It's not meant to be yours. The $25,000 maybe they have on you, it's not for you. It's to replace you. So next time you go to work, ask them for that certificate. They'll never give it to you because it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to them. So we're fed the lie that we're insured from the job. We're fed the lie that we have disability. Unless you get injured at work, the job will not send you a single penny. And if you spend too much time out of work, your position is in jeopardy. So I need you to think long and hard. Do you have someone else's money in your portfolio right now? Some kind of, a thing that is going to send you money, because a lot of white kids have that. A lot of white men and women have that. How do I know? Before I became a financial professional, I was going to their homes. I was asking them those questions as a nurse, and I was feeling the inequality firsthand. Because it's not race that's dividing people in America, it's information. So we're not sharing the information enough, and we're not grabbing onto the information. We're just busy bee, we're worker bees, and we're just doing life as it comes. And we're not stopping to look at the information. The information is in front of all of us. Don't believe me? I'm gonna share some books with you guys for coming, since you didn't come to eat my food and drink my wine, all of that good stuff. Sandra, you gotta send them pictures, but I'm gonna send you some books to see it for yourself, so that you can actually utilize the same vehicles, the same things that the wealthy are using. Because I don't want to just use Caucasian as the wealthy people. There's people that look like us that are wealthy, but you have to use the proper tools. Working hard is not it. If that was the case, I know my mother would have a PhD in that. My aunties, my uncles, I probably would have a PhD in working hard too. It's not a badge of honor to say I can work hard. I'm the hardest working person in the job, because that means nothing to management. That means nothing when Susie want to snitch on you. You have to work smart. You have to use other people's money to put things in your portfolio that if you cannot work, If you have to stop working for a reason or another, or you decide to, for my mental and emotional wellness, I need to step away from this job and take a hiatus for a year, you can afford to support yourself. Because there are people tapping into the cash value life insurance today and living off of that since COVID started. Do you have that? Because I sure didn't have one. Because if you don't have something where you can tap in right now, should you lose your job, you're doing this thing called life all wrong. And we're always going to be in an emotional turmoil, because at the end of the day, finances is the biggest source of stress, the biggest source of illness in America. So that's some of the things that we can control. There's a lot we cannot control, but the few things that you can control, do try to take ownership of it and control that. And I always tell people, then let God do the rest. So I know I gave you guys a mouthful. If you have any questions, concern, comment.
Any questions for Elin in regards to all that she gave us? I know that we covered a lot in regards to emotional wellness and your finances. Listen, money is one of the main things that are going to stress you out, especially now in this. They don't want to say we're in a recession, but we're in a recession. Like, we can look at the prices. Inflation is very high. So in thinking about putting this event and bringing it together, it was just like, what is the main thing that is impacting our emotional wellness? And for a lot of people, it is our finances. It's, you know, it may not be something that you want to think about, but it's that thing that when you go to sleep at night, or you go to the grocery store and you're saying to yourself, oh, I'm not going to buy this because I need to save money. Oh, I'm not going to go here because I need to save money. So your finances can play a very important part in your emotional wellness. So we just want to be mindful of that. Like, what can I do going forward to make sure that I'm in a better financial place? What other things can I do to affect my emotional wellness in a positive way? So if you do have any questions, Stephanie says, thank you, Elin. And for those who are joining us on Instagram Live, hi, how are you doing? You know, I'm trying to hit all the social media platforms and get everyone in. But we do appreciate you tonight. If you have any other questions, comments, things you want to share about how you're able to manage your emotional wellness, or things you're doing on your own finances that you find helpful. I know some of my sorority sisters are still on here, but for me, Zeta costs a lot of money. And so what I do is I try to have like an account that is just for Zeta stuff, or I try to pay my Zeta stuff ahead of time, because I know they're going to ask for money, because I hate when the time comes, like, now I'm stressing out. And like, you know, Elin said, like, certain, you're not a bank. And that's something I need to learn too. Like, I'm not a bank. People just assume because you're single, you don't have any kids, you have a good job now, let me come hit you up. No, I'm not a bank. So now if you're here, Sandra says that all the time, you know where I got it from. I'm not a bank. I don't have it to give. Budget tracking is very beneficial, helps me monitor how I need to get better at budgeting, because and the holidays are coming, and you do feel the pressure, right? To like buy everyone gifts, show people everyone you love. And even for me, like, my love language is gifts, but I like to give people gifts too. I like to see that enjoyment on their faces. But sometimes it does become a labor, you know, a labor of love when you're in that gift giving season. So it is something to be mindful of. Thank you for that, Charlie. Budgeting is definitely something, yeah, I need to get better at. Anyone else? Faith, Stephanie, Mary, anyone on Instagram Live that wants to share anything as it relates to, you know, just emotional wellness, or either your finances, anything you learned tonight that you know that you can, you know, put into place going forward? Like, anything that you think like, okay, budgeting is definitely something that I'm going to put into place. Or, you know, listen, this change of weather is going to affect us all. So going outside for 30 minutes a day, being more physically active, anything like that. There have been some good takeaways. Oh, Mary has a question.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How you doing, Sandra? How are you
Good.
doing, Erlen? Erlen is an awesome, great, close friend of mine, and I'm really excited and so um, proud of her. And I do want to say that the finances I see has played an emotional part because of the transition, the shift that has happened since COVID. And I find that for myself within the healthcare field, I had to make some adjustments and I had to stream down a little low as well. And, with, talking to Erlon, meeting her, we had to work on some things. And, and I can just speak for myself. I'm in the 40 age range. And I say to myself, Social Security is non-existent for me, non-existent. And my mom gets very like, wow, I can't believe it. You've been working since you were 14. And I see what she's going through with Social Security. So imagine myself. So retirement has been my focus and definitely self-care. Being a nurse practitioner, I've gotten to the point where everyone's going to get taken care of, but myself, no one's going to take care of me and my kids. I have to put them first. So I had to make that shift and adjustment. And Erlen has helped me to open up my eyes because we have had a lot of talks, so I want to say that it is important because you're going to notice that. And I've always wondered, how did the other party, I don't want to say Caucasian, but in all honesty, the Caucasians are Jewish. How is it that their family is so wealthy? We can do it too. There's a way to leave that for our kids. There's a way where I don't have to think about check to check. Oh my gosh, like I want to take the kids out now. How much do I have? Why should we think about that? Why should we even have that mentality? And definitely the mindset is a big, big, big essential thing. And speaking positive, speaking like, you were hear people say, speak to the universe. No, I pray about it and I speak to God like, okay, I'm going to make this happen. If today's going to be a good day, I'm going to speak that today's going to be a good day. If I'm going to manifest and attract finances, I'm going to somehow track finances some way, somehow, but I'm not going to allow a paycheck to determine how I'm going to take care of my kids. So everything Erlen has touched on is very essential and genuine. And it's gold because we weren't taught that. Our families from the islands or wherever, they didn't have that opportunity to get educated on that. So now with our generation, we have to change that and we have to shift it as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Mary. Thank you so much for that. It is a mind shift, especially if you ladies, I think there are a few gentlemen on the Instagram, like if you look into emotional wellness and some of the tips that they also give is that positive thinking. Like you have to think positively. If you just wake up in a bad mood, get back in the bed, take a deep breath and start all over again. Because if you can start thinking positively, if you can start thinking, okay, I can budget, I will get that increase, I will have enough money, you're going to attract those things. But if you have that negative mindset, it's not going to happen. And I was one of those people, I kind of have to say, like, just because you don't believe in something doesn't mean it's not true. Like that positive thinking, I used to think was a little hokey. Like, what? Like think positive thoughts, like lives, like terrible things happen. What? But it really does help you if you're like, okay, I'm going to have a good day today. I'm going to take a deep breath. Even if the day starts off bad, or I had a bad moment in that day, all right, we're just I'm gonna start it over. Or I'm gonna find something about that day that makes me happy, that brings me joy, that leads me to that right direction. So I will say like that positive thinking, that positive thought process is very helpful. And it has helped me because we all know the last year has been very difficult for me over here. So just finding ways to like think positive or just find moments of joy have proven to be very helpful. Cindy, did you want to say something? Are you on mute? Are you still on mute? Let's see. We have a cute little baby here too. So she's just, listen, she emotional wellness for you too, boo. Oh, Did I unmute you, Cindy? Did you need to say something? I'm sorry if you did. Let me know. Drop it in the chat if you had something to say, because Zoom doesn't want me to unmute you for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, Mary, did you have something else to say? I see your hand is still raised.
Yes, I have a question for Airline. Is there a certain amount of life insurance that I guess I want to say this generation, and you know, for everyone in the panel, and I want to say, you know, the 30 and up age would you say it's too late, and how many we should have, and also if you could touch on like other retirement options for the 30 plus, if you don't mind.
Mary, it's never too late. I'm 40. Yes, it's never too late. That's a great question. It's never too late, one. And I always say better late than never. And the only thing is the later we wait, because I hear people say, I'll wait when I start a family, when I get married to get insurance. That's actually a not so great mindset, because by then you might be a slight bit older. So insurance is driven by your age and your health. Though you may be healthy, but you will be a bit older. So that drives the cost of insurance also. And in terms, for any age, the sooner the better, because we're talking about $1 million for 30-year-olds, and they're paying 30 something, right? The cost of coffee for a week, that's at Dunkin' Donut or 7-Eleven. We're not talking about Starbucks. So the sooner the better, one. And what are some type of retirement that are available to us that we can utilize? Because a lot of jobs does not give you a typical retirement saving anymore. The typical one that we will never know about is pension. A lot of jobs don't give you pension anymore. And I used to call pension, they're dangling a carrot in front of you, because they dictate how long you're going to work, how much you're going to slave. And every so often, they can pull that carrot away from you as you get closer to it. So I find that pension is the next thing to driving a slave. But at least some people have it. But a lot of jobs don't offer it. The more money we make, the more we're breaking into the different professions. We do not have pensions anymore. And the next one that a lot of people are familiar with is either a 401k, 403b, or TSP or TDA, whatever they call it, is not really a retirement account. It was never designed for retirement. It was designed as an investment. Now, the jobs taking away the pension plan, they wanted to retain us and look attractive. So they offered these type of vehicles and says, here, Sandra, look at this. I'm giving you a retirement package. No one will ever sit with us and explain that to us. Think back when you started your job. They only give you the paper and sign here, sign there, sign here, sign there. If you're like me, I just signed everything. And I was just glad and felt blessed that I had something. But the design of most of these accounts is that it is actively being invested. Your money is actively being invested in the stock market. So therefore, that's why it's an investment account versus an account that's growing money for you. Yes, the money gets taken out before taxes. And people think that's a good thing. It's actually a bad thing, because you're actually agreeing to saying, here, take this little bit while taxes are on sale. And then potentially when the recession happens, I may have to pay more taxes than what I'm paying now. And at that point, I'll pay you taxes later. It's always better to pay taxes on less than on more. So you notice we're shooting ourselves in the foot by not even understanding the design. And the second thing is, every time the stock market goes down, you lose money. When it goes up, you make money, but you're on a seesaw. It's never balanced. So at that point, that's messing with your emotion. Because a lot of people would tell me, I'm even afraid to look at my account, because we fancy these days. We have access to our Voya, our Fidelity, and that's giving us little palpitation. My mom never looked at it until, we had to go see what she has. So at least she was at peace, not knowing. But us, we be knowing. We know how much we lost. Because when COVID happened, I lost 30,000 in my 401k that I started accumulating 2 years. It took 2 years to grow that money, and I lost it in a day. So these accounts are not the safest thing. Why? Because we're getting older and we want to retire sooner. So I'm making this long because it is a long answer, in saying that if we don't have time, why are we playing with our money? Because when you have a 401k or 403b, the call Fidelity tomorrow, actually Monday, ask them what stocks are my options that you're investing my money. They're gonna tell you Fidelity this, Fidelity that, Fidelity this. And for the non-Haitian on the call, when I call with the old Haitian women, they'll be like, you playing around with my money? Why are you playing around with my money? Because what they're doing is they're using your money to invest in their own stocks. So basically, it's like giving an alcoholic alcohol to drink. So they're using our money to invest in themselves. So they'll tell you the market will always come up. It doesn't come back with your money. So you have to decide whether that's a good place for you. Now, for those of us who are self-employed, doing it for ourselves and saying, I'm not buying into this 401k nonsense, or some people that don't even get that option at their jobs, how can you save money for retirement besides putting money in a bank? Because if you're putting money in the bank, take it out and put it under your mattress. It's probably better for you right now. So if you want somewhere where that money actually grows with interest, do what the wealthy are doing. Use a cash value life insurance, because there your money is growing with interest. It's safe from market losses. It's safe from any predators. If somebody robs your house, you still have it because it's not under your mattress. If the market goes down tomorrow, the bank won't say, sorry, we lost your money. So it's safe because why? A life insurance policy is a life insurance policy. It's insurance on your life. So therefore, there's the money going in there will never be touched. So that's what a lot of people are doing. That's what I'm doing when I find out, because at the end of the day, I can control it. I cannot control my job. I cannot control the economy, but I can control there because all I have to do is make my payment. Best case scenario, I live, that money has grown. I can pull money on a regular basis to take care of myself and my family. Worst case scenario, I pass away, my children get the life insurance proceeds and the money that was going in the bank. So it's a win-win situation. Hence the term use other people's money. So that's to answer your question, Mary.
Thank you so much. That was very informative, very detailed, and yeah, thank
know
you.
How we do.
Oh, yes, yes.
And peace, right? You're welcome. Go ahead, Evros.
So my question is, the interest from the money that you're putting into the cash flow account, is it based off of the amount that you put in, or is it a set interest amount?
That's a good question. It's a set interest based on how the market does. It's not based on what you put in. What they do, the company does. It's almost they're doing the investing for you. So on the annual basis or monthly basis, that company, the insurance company, watches what the market does. And when the market does what, it's almost like throwing something in a pot, like it's hot when it's hot. So they throw your money in and you come up with whatever interest rate is being offered on the market. And they also have the ability to say, we're not investing her money right now because the market is not doing well. So therefore, always giving you the possibility of your money growing. Worst case scenario, if the market is in the toilet and nobody's making money, you would make zero interest, but your money will be safe. Last year, a lot of us lost money in our 401k. Thankfully, I was already out. My interest rate for my cash value life insurance was 13.5. That's 13.5 more than I would get from the bank. So that's the difference between those. Do that, yeah?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
My question was, how the cash value life insurance, how do you take cash out? Like, how does it build up cash that you can take out if needed?
Yeah, good question. I don't know if everybody heard. Marley asked the cash value life insurance, how does it build the cash and how do you take the cash out?
Yeah.
Yes. The way it builds cash is over time. I always say the more you leave the money in there, the more there is to grow. So as long as you have money, because what happens is when we make our payment, there's a certain amount that goes into a bank for us, a certain amount that pays the insurance, and then a certain amount that goes into the investment. So what happens is the longer we have it there, that's the reason why our babies need to have it early, because these are the people that are really going to benefit from it. For us, we can still do, but we need to start at a reasonable amount. So time is money also. So the longer you have it in there. But let's say you do have. So let's say hypothetically I have 20,000 growth in that account and I need 15,000. They usually encourage us to get it for a couple of reasons in the form of a loan. Now I know a lot of people, student loan, we don't need any more loans, right? we're very averse to loan. In this particular situation, you want to take it as a loan because for a couple of reasons, you do not pay taxes on loan. So you won't have to pay taxes on that money. And second, so the government, the minute they see it, they'll see it as income if you withdraw that money. So they're gonna want to take taxes for you to pay taxes. So if you call your company from your own bank, I want you to keep that in mind because it is your bank you formed inside of a life insurance and says, tomorrow, I need you to mail me a check for 15,000. They're sending it to you in the form of a loan. And that loan you don't pay back and you don't pay taxes on it, and the government does not recognize it as income. So that's the key when it comes to those policies. And if like baby Layla has one, by the time she's old enough to go to college, you can even do what is called a withdrawal because she had it long enough for her to take, and then it doesn't get penalized. She can get financial aid, she can get anything because they don't see a 529 plan. So that's how good these things are. So that's why the wealthy are really, really using these to their advantage. Yeah. Mary?
Yes, I have a question, Erlen. I'm going to tell everybody, please have a one-to-one on Erlen. I was able to get my life insurance through her. Is there a way, you know how when there's IRA, Roth, and everything, can you also add money into your life insurance if you're getting it, taken out monthly? If there was, hypothetically, if you were given a gift of money, can you add that? Can you deposit that into your life insurance that you have currently that you're already paying monthly on? Is that a governmental thing where you have to get taxed on? Is there a percentage? Is there a penalty for that if you want it? If it serves the same as that Roth IRA where you can, deposit in? I just want some information on that.
Yes, the cash value life insurance, if you have, for instance, you have an IRA that you want to cash out and say, I want to put my money there because the IRAs are in the market. You lose money when the market goes down. You have to pay the taxes on the IRA, if that's the question you're asking. If it's a Roth, you don't pay taxes because you had already paid taxes on that money. So you can pull that money. So it's moving your money from one place to another. So you can easily move the Roth IRA's money into a cash value life insurance. But if it's a traditional IRA, you have to pay the taxes and actually a 10% penalty in both before you move it into a cash value life insurance. Now, if you get a gift or some kind of governmental help, nobody cares what you're doing with your money or that you receive. So once you receive that money, long as it's clear and free from taxes, you can utilize that to put into your cash value life insurance. I'll give you an example. After losing 30,000, I was nobody's fool. I pulled my money from United Healthcare. I paid my taxes, took the 10% penalty, and I paid off my cash value life insurance for the year with that money. So but you have to take care of all of that, depends on where the money's coming from. I don't know if that answered your question, Mary.
No, it did. It really did. And I appreciate that. It sure did. Because I wanted to know if I do get a gift, I would like to, rather than putting it into like a Roth already, since I have the life insurance, I would like to add that in, So I was wanting to know about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. The only thing with the IRAs are not bad, but always know that when you take your money from the IRA and put it into an IRA, you're actually telling the company, I don't want access to that money until I'm 59 and a half. And we're all here in our 30s, right? I don't know what 30 something I am, but if 59 and a half is when you can touch that money, otherwise you pay a 10% penalty. I don't know about you. I do not like to pay anything that I shouldn't be paying. So that's the key when it comes to the IRAs and stuff.
So you can transfer money, like if you have a Roth IRA, you can transfer to your cash value life insurance?
Yes, the question is if you have a Roth IRA, can you transfer that money into a cash value life insurance? Yeah. You can, but you will take the loss of a 10% penalty because you agreed to that company that I won't take my money until I'm 59 and a half. So that's the key. You have to close that account out. And because it's not your money, once it's in their hands, you have to pay that. And somehow it's actually in your best advantage to do that because remember, your Roth IRA money is in the stock market. So you're trying to figure out, where do I want to lose? Do I want to pay a 10% penalty and stop bleeding every time the market goes down? Or do I just, it depends on what you want to do. Stephanie asked about scheduling a one-on-one. I do one-on-one, and everybody that comes to a one-on-one, It's not a sell purpose, it's education purpose. So it's ideal to do a one-on-one, because what I do, I gift everybody one books that you can read for free. And then the other thing is I also offer a free financial need analysis. And I call it a financial checkup. Because if you guys have had your checkup for the year already with your doctor, if you haven't, you should. You should go to the dentist, doctor, cousins. And also, if you're in your 40s, mammogram, all that needs to be done by the end of the year, because that's part of your wellness, doing all of those things and checking those boxes. So that includes your finances too. So every year, a lot of wealthy people have what is called a financial checkup. So a lot of them even have it twice a year. And here we are, we have no idea what that is. So I offer that free of charge to everyone. Basically, you're listing what is your budget, what you're spending your money on, and then we give you a whole, spill out of what you should be doing and how you could do it. And I find that to be very good, especially for those of us who want a guide. So for me, I use it as my financial Bible, my financial guide on what to do. I kid you not, I did one for myself recently. I saw that I had Apple Music, Amazon Music. We're bleeding money in every little thing that we sign up for and don't even realize. I had gym membership that I wasn't going to. What for? So we need to stop going, bleeding money, because once we write it on paper, we can see what we're spending money on that we do not need to spend money on. So everyone that's on this call, you're entitled to getting one of those. I'll share my link here on the Zoom, that my calendar link. Feel free to schedule a call. And I always tell people it's non-threatening. If you know us as nurses, we don't shove anything down people's throat or threaten you. We offer information because I believe personally that knowledge is power. So you can feel free to schedule a call, share with someone to schedule a call, because these things, information in that financial checkup is not offered to us. Try to go into the bank and see if they offer it to you. If they'll come to you and says, Miss Antoine, your account looks so great, let me give you a free financial checkup. It's reserved most of the time for people who has a substantial amount of money in the bank. So that's something that we do not get in our community. Any questions? Any other questions? You got a question, Leila?
Well, if we don't have any more questions, we'll give you the rest of your Saturday evening. Once again, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope you were able to take away some things that can, one, either help you with your emotional wellness, and two, help you in regards to your finances. If you're looking for like more financial information, life insurance information, definitely connect with Elon. She's going to drop her information. She dropped her Calendly in the chat. As for myself, we know that Sandra is Madam Social Media and hostess. So I'll drop my contact information as well. So if you're looking for someone to either help you with your social media, your business strategy, things of that nature, or if you're looking for a host for your event, as we said, the holidays are coming. So we know a lot of those holiday events are coming. We have, oh yes, definitely network with each other in here. We have Stephanie who does fitness. We have Charlie who is in human resources. We have Mary, I believe, is she still a nurse practitioner?
Yes, she is.
So,
Yes.
definitely network with one another. Drop your, either your social media handles, your emails, your websites in the chat. Eve Rose does fashion. She's here with us in person. So definitely connect with us. Like I said, I just dropped my contact information for my website if you're looking to, do something as it relates to either social media or hosting. But we really hope you enjoyed tonight. And of course, if you learned something, feel free to post it somewhere, send us a review, leave a testimonial. But yes, thank you so much, ladies. And once again, thank you so much for joining us. Elon, any last words?
Oh, thank you so much, everyone, for coming on. Remember, first of all, knowledge is power. That's the one thing I always tell myself. We have to stay educated, stay informed, stay woke, like they say out here. And then the second thing is take care of yourself first. It's not a coincidence on the plane. They say put your mask on first before you help someone else. And we cannot pour from an empty cup. You have to fill yourself up however way before you pour for someone else. So take care of you. You come first after God, And second, if you ain't using somebody else's money, the rich white man money, find yourself a way to do it, because them sugar daddies ain't it. So there's another way. You know, that to have the sugar daddy without the sugar. So feel free, and like Sandra said, there's people with wealth of information that you can contact and network with. And I share information not for you to say you're coming to get insurance from me. Never feel that way. If you want to get your checkup, come get it. Review what you have, come review. And then if you feel comfortable going to somebody else and they can help you well, I also support that. The key is for you to get what you need and to really get what you deserve, and not what someone else feel like they should give you. On that note, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It hurts my heart that I have to eat all the food by myself.
We're going to take some pictures for you guys. We're going to show you what you missed. So next time we'll be sure to push the in-person option, so you can definitely get to network and mix and mingle with each other in person.
Yes. And thank you, Sandra, for being a great host. You guys know that she's my cousin turned, what is she now to me? Granddaughter, because my daughter owns her. So I truly appreciate you. Like she shared, she's had a tough year, but she's the model of showing what pushing through is, and living, doing this thing called life, with the community that she has, and relying on family. Thank you for hosting and for allowing me to come into the living room cars of your friends. And you guys are now family. Just don't stay too long at my house.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you. Blessings, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.